what's so precious about loving and joy and delight is it blossoms out of that more and more love, delight, and joy. And this room, this house, at least since I walked in, has been blossoming with this energy, expanding and expanding. Deanna and Terry have invited us all here because they experience us as their loving family. Their biological family is here, and we're sort of their extended family that represents and reflects through our relationship with them this great joy, this great love, this great empowerment of joy in relationship. There's two additional beings that they wanted to come into their presence. Once we're connected in love, we're always connected in love. And as soon as I began speaking of these beings, it's as if I can feel their presence. Our wish is to evoke their presence in us all, so we know of their loving presence. These two beings have touched the heart in many ways of Deanna and Terry, and are not responsible for the type of communion and relationship that they have now. So I bless these beings and ask first Deanna to describe and evoke the memory of that being in us all, sort of through the most beautiful, whatever comes from her heart. These beings have been born out of the human robe into that angelic robe. So we're inviting two beautiful angels to sit with them during this precious ceremony. Deanna, would you invite me, Viola?
All my life have heard about and felt the presence of my great-grandmother, Mama Payton. That's how she was known to. She ran a general store out in the country, and she was known to everybody in the country as Mama Payton. And she lived with my mother and had gone blind and was my mother's companion until she was 11 or 12 when she died. And all my life I heard about Mama Payton and how proud Mama Payton would be of me, and how much like her that I've always been. And I've always felt her strength, her incredible strength, and her love for everyone that she came in contact with. So I wanted her spirit to be here with us today. And my mom is going to tell us a little bit about her. She can get through it.
Is this where she's sitting?
Mm-hmm. I'll put a rose.
I think Deanna pretty much said what I feel. This was my mother's mother, and she lived with us. She was an incredible lady. She had raised 8 children, the general store. She was known all over the country. And when I was a child, she's the one that taught me to read and crochet and to sew. And she sat with me, babysat me while my mother worked outside or washed or whatever, she hauled water, whatever she had to do. But my grandmother was always there. And I think that I really think that Deanna, if my grandmother was here in this day and time, she would be just so much like Deanna. Or maybe Deanna's just so much like her. She was such a special lady. And I feel like that Deanna's a special lady.
Mama Payton, we welcome you here, and Deanna has placed a special chair.
And I'm also named for her. My middle name, Viola.
Let's just feel her in your heart. And The other being that this beautiful couple wishes to be with us is a woman by the name of Jackie Hunt. Terry, would you welcome Jackie into this ceremony?
I feel like Jackie's always with me. There was a time in my life that I felt like none of this would be possible. Completely good. And that's when I met her, Steve's mom. For the first time in a long time, I heard somebody tell me that I deserved this. She's brutally honest. She was tough. She was constant. I could always count on her. No matter where I was, I could call her. She was there. And not just for me, but for hundreds of people. And she could be intimidating, but I remember when I decided to get baptized, we went to lunch and I asked her to be my godmother. And I just remember her tears rolling down her cheeks. And she couldn't talk, but she didn't need to. And I'm glad she's here in the third list. I'm glad she got to see.
Welcome, Jackie. And Steve, this is your mother?
Yes.
Would you describe your essence of your mother that's here with us now?
Well, I thought I might have some difficulty in doing that, so I wrote some. I would just say I'm extremely honored, and I know she would be, so thank you. Many of you may have known Jackie Hunt and the kind of person she was, and for those of you who didn't, I'll tell you she was a very fine person. As I was one of 5 kids, and she had 5 and 7 years, she was pretty much a chauffeur, a cook, a referee, a coach, all just rolled into one. But I really didn't know her as a person, or really even a mom, until much later in our lives. And I often tell people that I guess I matured and she mellowed, and it may be hard for some of you to think of her as mellowing, but she did mellow. Trust me on that. If you had seen her chase us around the house with a thin yellow belt or a wooden spoon or something, you'll know that now she's mellowed. She had a knack or a special way of kind of getting to the bottom line of things, and I knew that all growing up, and I saw it a lot in her counseling. You might take her a while to communicate it to you in her long, slow way, but she was there. She knew the bottom line. The Lord had positioned my mom so that she could help others get to their bottom lines, and that's when, as a counselor at Cayta, she met Terry. And that he was my future brother-in-law at that time, and he'd pretty much found his bottom, I guess. And I remember Kim's worry that Jackie would know all about her whole family before they even had a chance to meet. And Kim was worried that Terry would give the scoop on the family, and I'm sure he probably did, and I know my mom listened. And really for that, I'm very thankful. As I've gotten to know Terry a whole lot better over the last dozen years or so, I'm even more thankful. You're a special person to us, me and Kim and the boys, and thank you. We love you for that. One of my mom's favorite things to do was just to talk things over, and she just, it wasn't about world news or, think when it was just about people and everyday life, what was going on with you and what wasn't. She'd always get a kick out of telling Tim and I about some friend of ours that she was helping. Because at the end of the story, we'd say, well, who is it, Mom? And we were just bursting. And she said, well, I can't tell you that. That's just her humor. It's just drive us crazy. And the Lord really blessed me, I believe, when by having me spend her last night on earth with her at the hospital. And I know that I had received about 7 or so calls from folks that said, you don't know me, but your mom really, really helped. I just wanted to let you know how much your mom did for me. And for that night and for my mom, I'm truly thankful. And I guess if she were here today, I was trying to figure out what she might say. I know she would have already talked to Deanna. And I'm sure she would have fallen in love with her like we have. And she would lean over to Terry and say, and really the only way she could is, Terry, you've come a long way, and don't F this up. So I appreciate that. Some of you know my mom. So for all that and for this, we're truly thankful.
Well, we have two wonderful beings with us now, Mama Payton and Jackie Hunt. Thank you. One of the most